found yourself in a very contentious conversation as a woman in leadership and wanted to know what really was the best way that you should have de-escalated the situation? This video, we are going to talk about it, and I'm going to share with you some secrets that you absolutely want to know as a woman in leadership that will help you to be able to de-escalate some of those very contentious and challenging situations that you may face in the wonderful world of leadership. Now, this topic that we are talking about today is more of an advanced topic. And if you are new to my channel or new to me, I'm glad that you spent a few moments out of your day to spend with me. This is something that people simply struggle with when it comes to being a leader. They're not exactly sure how should they manage themselves or how should they conduct themselves and how to de-escalate situations quickly. And I'm going to share with you secrets from over the past 20 years that I have learned as a C-suite executive, a director, and a manager and a public speaker that will help you fast track your career growth so that you can be the leader that stands out from everybody else in your field. This is a live video, and if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay, and I'm glad that you're here. There's typically a point in time when the YouTube audience will join the conversation. Therefore, give me just a few minutes so I can say hello to everyone. And if you have any questions as we are going through this particular live, put them in the comments below. Let's talk about what challenges you have faced. I do want to know from you, when have you been in a situation where you had to de-escalate the event that took place? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it today. I want to preface this by saying that this morning we had a live session where we talked about how leaders can de-escalate conversations without losing their authority. And this is a great video for you to watch if you've ever dealt with contentious situations and you have had to de-escalate them as a leader. This is a very, very, very good conversation for you to pay attention to. So feel free to watch the live video that is on my channel right now. It will give you some insight in terms of the big picture of what you want to do to de-escalate those very challenging conversations. This topic is a bit more advanced. And if you've ever been in a situation as a woman in leadership or a man in leadership, you know when these situations happen, they can go from 0 to 10 in a matter of moments. And it's really important for you to think about, well, what can we do to prevent this situation from going to a level where we do not know how to manage it? And that is the reason why we're going to talk about this on the channel today. If you are new to me and this is your first video or you have been with me for a while, my whole mission here is to help you be able to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. And if this is something that you're trying to do, this is the best place for you on YouTube today. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe to the channel because I talk about ways to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers. And it starts by learning how to de-escalate these situations. So I want to say hello everyone. How you all doing today? I appreciate the heart emojis. Let me know if you've ever been in a situation where you've had to de-escalate a conversation as a leader. Let's talk about it. Let's learn from each other. I'm going to give you over 20 years worth of secrets here in just a few moments. But learning how to de-escalate conversations is a skill that will make you stand out as a leader, will allow you to make more income and to make a big impact on the world. If this is something that you want to learn more about and you want to stand out from everybody else as a leader, this is the place you want to be tonight on YouTube or in the day or in the afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And let me know, have you ever had to de-escalate a situation? What happened? Let's talk about today. I want to say hello to Robert. Hello, Robert. How are you doing today? Good to see you today, friend. Welcome back. We have Speed Clips Live 26 says, what's up? Well, hello, Speed Clips. Welcome, welcome. This is your first time here. Glad you're here. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. We have Freddie R. Buckle Q4N says, hey, hello, Freddie. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. We have Siren Avine Zolana 91 says, hello, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you all are here today. Let me know, have you ever been in a challenging situation where you had to de-escalate a situation as a leader? Let me know in the comments below. As I mentioned earlier, before some of you all joined, I had a live video this morning where we talked about how leaders can de-escalate conversations without losing your authority. There's two things I shared in that video that you absolutely want to take a look at because it will change how you think about challenging situations. And if you're new to me, I know we have many people that are new. I'm going to show you how to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. My target audience that I work with in my executive coaching and consulting practice are women in leadership. However, on all of the platforms that I have accounts on right now, I have men in leadership that are a part of my group. I have individuals that are men and women that are not leaders just yet, that are thinking about possibly becoming leaders. So this is a really good place. I guarantee you, whether you're in my target audience or not, you will learn something on my videos that will help you to stand out in terms of how you are communicating from everybody else as a leader. All right, so Robert says, I'm doing good, ma'am. How are you doing today? Robert, I'm doing great. Robert, here it is 8 o'clock now, and it is Friday. So Friday is always a wonderful day for me. Robert said, what's your plan for the weekend? Actually, Robert, I'm going to be doing a bit of outreach on my business. There's an event I'm attending, Robert, on Tuesday here in Fort Lauderdale. It's called Aspire. It is a big event where they have a couple of notable people like Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be there. Kevin O'Leary is going to be there and a few other people. So I'm trying to get a couple things prepared because it's going to be a really big event here in the Sunshine State of Florida. We have this other individual says, hello, hope you're doing well today. Well, let's talk about it. So as I mentioned in the live earlier today, I mentioned to you that there's two strategies for you to think about to make sure you are de-escalating conversations as a leader without losing your authority. So watch the live video from this morning to learn a bit more about those, because I'm not talking about those in this video specifically. We're going to talk about just secrets that you absolutely want to know. One of the first secrets that I talked a little bit about this morning, and I want to know from you, let me know if you've ever been in a situation where you've had to de-escalate a conversation as a leader. Let me know what happened, and let's talk about it. This is how we learn together as a community. Now, a couple secrets I just want to share with you from my over 20 years include the following. When you are in those situations where you're trying to de-escalate a conversation and it's going from 0 to 10 quickly, there is a lot of preparatory work that needs to happen before the de-escalation occurs. Now, you may be saying, well, I need to know what I need to say, how I need to say it, etc. This is the reason why we're talking about that now, because you have to plan ahead. And this is for any situation where you may be in a challenging environment. You have to do a little bit of planning ahead so that you can be prepared for when the escalation may start. And so one of the things that I mentioned earlier today that I do want to mention is that you have to have some kind of a plan. And I'll share with you some mistakes that I personally made when I had situations that went from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds that I was not prepared for, so that you don't make those mistakes. But before I do that, let me see what's in the chat. Robert says, ma'am, could you please give us an idea about work-life balance? I'm spending nearly 13 hours for work, including travel. How can I maintain and manage my personal and work time together every day? Okay, so this is a really great question. And before I go into de-escalation and going into that, because I have time to spend with you all today, so bear with me if you're watching the replay. I want to make sure that I provide Robert with as much insight as I can. Robert is a regular here on the channel, and I want to make sure I support him on his journey. And then we'll go into de-escalation and the secrets that you need to know as a leader. Robert, so there's a couple things that I personally dealt with on my journey to being where I am now as a C-suite and as a leader and a senior leader, where I exactly understand what you're talking about when you feel like you just don't have that balance. One of the strategies I would share with you as it relates to your boundaries and being able to set that work-life balance that you're looking for is to reverse engineer your schedule. And so one of the things that I found to be very helpful to me that was was a really, I would say, a very pivotal point in my career is when I determined what exactly it is that I need. So you may want to determine, when you think about personal life, when you do this in your personal life, what is it that makes you feel like you took care of yourself? I don't know what that is. For many people, it's exercising. Some people say it's going to get a haircut, or going to get their hair done, or going to go paint their nails, or going to spend time with friends, or going to go have a dinner somewhere. You have to know what it is that makes you feel like you are having personal time for yourself. Now, you may not be able to do this thing every day, or you may be able to do this thing every day, but it's really important, Robert, to think about maybe the top 3 self-care categories or personal categories that you specifically want to spend more time on this year. What are they? If it is something that you like to do, then let's reverse engineer your schedule. When you participate in 1 or 3 of these activities, all in general, how much time does it take for you to do those activities? If it's eating with friends, if it's going out to exercise, are you working out for 30 minutes? Are you going to eat with your friends for an hour and a half? What is it? So let's get very specific in terms of what it is that you like to do and how much time is it going to take you to do it. Now, you may be saying, well, this is personal life, so I don't have a timing on it. No, there is. There's a time when you want to be able to relax. So one of the things that I will share with you that I have been working on to make that balance for me is that I personally, and this is going to sound very odd, but this is me, but for me, my time to relax is when I'm able to look at what's going on in the news, in the world, what is happening in different states or different countries, what is happening in politics. That is my downtime. And I know that sounds like, what kind of downtime is that? But that is my downtime. That is my time to relax. Now, I could sit there and watch the news and different types of things like that for hours on end if I wanted to. But my purpose is I'm trying to learn more about how people are communicating so I can share additional insights with you all outside of the experiences that I've had with congressional leaders and etc. Now, I know that if I'm able to relax, Robert, and I'm able to watch on my phone or wherever I'm watching on my smart TV, some topics about the news and politics or business growing or etc., I know if I sit down quietly with no interruptions from anyone, from my kids or no phone or anything, if I can sit down quietly for at least 30 minutes, maybe to an hour, then in my mind, I feel like I have had some time to myself. I mention this because even though there may be some personal things you're trying to accomplish and you want to have that work-life balance that so many people are desperately trying to accomplish, this is how you do it. There is a time on everything. Now, sometimes you may not want to have a time on it, but when you have that very hectic schedule that you have, I know you're very busy, we have to figure out, well, how can we put that time in your schedule? Maybe you can't do it every day, but maybe you do it once a week. Maybe you do it twice a week. Maybe you do it 3 times a week. I don't know what it is for you, Robert, specifically that means self-care, that means balance to you. So that's the first thing I would do for you. The second is to think about your work schedule because you're doing a lot of traveling. You're commuting 13 hours a day, which when I was in residency program in Bronx, New York, I understand. I understand. I used to commute a lot, and the commute can be just very, 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 very draining for you. One of the things that I had to do, and I learned to do, Robert, also is to make your time in the office as efficient as possible. So if there are meetings that are happening with you and those meetings are not productive, then I would try to work with the team to see exactly, well, what is it that we need to discuss at this meeting so we can stay on task? One of the things that happens a lot of times with leaders specifically when they're in those challenging situations is that we are completely just overwhelmed with meetings. We're meeting about the most smallest, ridiculous things, and people get off topic. They talk about what they did over the weekend or anything that is just completely silly. Well, you want to be that voice of reason that can showcase your executive presence and let them know we need to stay on top. This is something we need to stay on top of. Can we talk about this? I've done this many times. I've been the person to say, hey, time out. Can we, what's the update on this project? When people are talking about, oh, I did this on the weekend and laughing and ha, ha, ha. No, I got stuff to do. Robert, I mentioned this to you because having more efficiency in work will help you be more efficient, having more time at home and creating that balance. If you're more efficient at work, then you can leave hopefully on time. Another thing to mention too, and then I'm going to go into the chat because I saw a couple people came through, that another thing to keep in mind also is you have to leave on time. You have to leave on time. And I know it may sound, I appreciate the 100 emojis, friends. I thank you for that. You have to leave on time. You have to leave on time for your job. I know sometimes you might be salaried, etc., but there has to be those boundaries. I'm telling you that we talked about so much in December to help you be able to start to create that balance. So Robert, I hope that gives you some insight. These are strategies that I personally did, and I appreciate the celebrations and the smiley faces. But I hope this gives you some insight in terms of some strategies that you can start implementing into your day to start having more of a work-life balance. I know it's hard, but it starts with where you are and how you are positioning yourself as a leader to take care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of everybody else? So I hope that gives you some insight, Robert. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. Robert says, thank you so much for the valuable information to manage our daily time. We'll follow that. Absolutely, Robert. I'm here to help you any way that I can. We have Cookville Taxi. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Cookville Taxi says, thank you for the information. That is why you are my favorite. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're here. Hope all is going well with you. Happy New Year, because I don't think I've seen you not this year just yet. But I appreciate you being here, and I hope you're having a wonderful New Year, and I'm wishing you all the best this upcoming year as well. And Cookville Taxi says, hi, and how are you? I'm doing fantastically well. Anytime I can be here to present or provide you with any insight and help you learn from mistakes that I have made that will help you stand out from everybody else so that you can earn more money and you can make that big impact on the world, I'm always very, very happy. All right, so we talked about balancing work and life, which is a great topic that Robert brought up. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Robert. Now let's talk about de-escalation. I'm sharing with you secrets that people are not talking about. You should go on YouTube and let's see how many people are talking about this specifically. So we're going to talk about that. But before I do that, let me go into the chat. So Robert says, ma'am, regarding escalations, as humans, we make a small error that causes major issue at work. My question is, how can we prevent those small errors beyond our strong focus at work? So Robert, we're going to talk about that right now. And one of the things that I want to share with you as it relates to secrets to de-escalating situations and those small errors that we talked about is coming up with a plan. You have to have some form of a plan for escalation specifically. And let me see, something came up in the chat. Cookville Taxi says, bye, are you doing a live tomorrow because I have to eat? So Cookville Taxi, I go live, and I hope you have a good night and have some dinner, some delicious dinner. But Cookville Taxi, I go live Tuesday through Friday, now that we're back in the new year and the holidays are over. Tuesday through Friday in the morning and in the evening. If you can't make the lives, it's no problem. I upload all of my lives to my channel, so feel free just to take a look. I am gonna start getting into the topic where I'm making a post on my community page so that you know which ones are coming up. And Cookville Taxi, if you have a title or topic you want to learn more about, I will give you a shout out in the video. You just let me know and I'll do a video just for you and in a live, and I'll put something on the community tab as well so you know about it. So the videos are always here, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Cookville Taxi says, I hope you have a good night. I will. Thank you so much, and thumbs up. Thank you, friend. I appreciate that. Have a good night, and feel free to join anytime you can. The replays are there for you if you want to watch them. Okay, so back to what Robert is saying, and this is the main focus of the video for today, is we're talking about de-escalating situations. Now, I'm sharing with you secrets and mistakes that I've made. If we have time, depending on how the conversation goes, I will share with you what happened and why the mistakes that I made and why I don't want you to make them. But for now, I just want to give you secrets. I just want to share secrets with you and knowledge that people are not talking about on YouTube, because that is why hopefully you are subscribed to my channel. One of the mistakes, Robert, specifically that people make when they are in those situations where the de-escalation is happening is that they have not planned ahead in advance. Let me be specific, and I'm just going to say things. I'm not necessarily going to go into step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in this video, but I'm just going to share with you what I've learned. When you are having a conversation with someone, most of the time we know who we need to speak with. And as leaders, we are sometimes in situations where we have to have those difficult conversations. Let me know in the comments below if you have ever had a difficult conversation as a leader that is very memorable to you that you will never forget. I have a few, but let me know if you have any specifically. Now, we know who we're speaking with. And before you go into a meeting with someone, let's say I'm going to give you a scenario that I'm going to just throw out there, and it will share all the secrets you need to know to de-escalate a conflict like this. Number 1, I have an employee. I have somebody I work with, and they have been very mean, I would say, to the other employees. And I need to have a conversation with them because they are not treating them with respect. And I know this person tends to be unfriendly to some of the coworkers and sometimes to our clients as well. So this is what I would do. This is literally what I would do. I would first say, what do I need to say to this person, or what's the issue? Start there first. But then I need to plan ahead. I take a few moments to think about this person. This individual, how do they act? Are they typically receptive to feedback, or are they the person that is going to argue with you? Think about it, because that determines where this conversation could go. And when you think about this person, you have to basically put 2 plans in place. Plan 1 is the conversation goes well. This person is actually in a good mood today. They're receptive. They want to move forward. Plan 2 is what happens if this person gets argumentative or even perhaps combative. What do you want to do in that particular scenario? You have to kind of have this planned out in your mind ahead of time. For those of you watching, and for Robert's question, you have to have this planned out in advance. I know it sounds like, whoa, wait, that's too much. Trust me, when you're in those very, very contentious situations, you will wish that you listened to what I said, because you have to know who it is exactly that you are speaking with. You know your team, and you know them better than what you think you do. And you know you have those people that will either listen, those people that will cry, those people that will be very argumentative and combative and very dismissive. You have to know who you're talking to. My next strategy I'll share with you, and I know something came in the chat, and I'm going to look at Robert just a second. The next thing that I personally do is identify who am I speaking with, and then what is it exactly that I need to talk to them about specifically, or what do we need to discuss? And then I think about when do I need to have this conversation? The when you need to have the conversation is actually very important. I've made mistakes many, many times over the years where I had conversations that were maybe more challenging or escalated to a different level I didn't want them to go. And you know what happened when I had those conversations? They were all at the end of the day. I would not do that moving forward. There's a timing of it. You have to do a few more of the secrets I'm going to share with you if you're going to have a conversation at the end of the day. But the end of the day is when I had these conversations, and a lot of times it ended up just not going the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to share with you additional secrets that I did when I figured that out. But first, let me go to what Robert said. So Robert says, last year I received an escalation for missing to update a value in software. My manager didn't appreciate my 99.9% best efforts, and he escalated for that 0.1%. I felt extremely bad on that day. There's Robert, and it's very unfortunate that happened, because obviously I know you're giving that 99.9%. in your workplace, because you're doing obviously a lot of amazing things right now this year. And sometimes people will escalate and they'll just go off on you for whatever it is, like you said, for that 0.1%. And this is unfortunate because this is how some managers treat people. And I know you felt bad, like you mentioned on that day, and I don't blame you. I'd be a bit frustrated with that also. But when you have people that are like that, I'm telling you, Robert, and this is just from 20 years of working with C-suite level executives, senior leaders, and etc. You have to really feel bad for them. And I know that may sound like, what? Why would you feel bad for them? I genuinely do. And let me explain to you why. I feel bad for them because this is your manager. Okay, this is your manager. And if your manager is going to escalate and act that way for 0.1%, what kind of life are they going to be living here in the next 10, 15 years? You're going to be going up here while they stay at the level that they're at, because the mindset that they have is that type of mindset of the individual that is not really going to grow in their career, or they may elevate, they may grow in their role, but they still will be that same person. So when you have those situations, Robert, escalations can be frustrating, especially if someone is being very argumentative with you. You have to just stand your ground, say what is important, what needs to be said, to make sure that you are accounting for the amazing work that you've done. But ultimately, people like that, I really do feel sorry for them. And you may think I'm just saying that because I'm on YouTube. No, I'm being very transparent with y'all. I really feel sorry for people when they act that way, because I know that if you're my manager and you're here and I'm already here, then I'm just going up while you stay exactly where you are. And that's just what I've seen that has actually in reality happened to many people and many other leaders. So I'm not sharing this with you from the standpoint of me saying, oh, I'm at a different level than other people. I'm sharing with you what I've actually seen. I have seen people act in that way, Robert, and they are still the same level, same person they were then. They're somewhere else. I'm in a different level. So just keep that in mind when you have those situations that actually come up. So Robert says, escalations can hurt, but receiving escalations for the small errors, that really hurts a lot to the core. It does. And it's almost a way of people just trying to nitpick at you. And then when you have those situations come up, you have to think about, who are you working with? Who is your manager? Is this the person you want to work with? I've had situations like that come up too, especially in different leadership roles. And you have to really take some time and think about, well, what kind of life do I want to live, and what kind of job do I want to live and work at also? Because when you have those very minor things, as you mentioned, Robert, they can be so incredibly annoying. It's like saying, okay, wow, you just picked up the whole entire building, but there's a piece of trash on the ground. You didn't pick that up. It almost feels just like that. You're like, hey, I'm carrying the whole building. What are you talking about? It's that type of nitpicking type of behavior that it's frustrating and it can bother you. But just keep in mind, when you are called to do amazing things, Robert, like I know that you are, we all go through different types of struggles, I would say specifically, as leaders. And we all go through different things. We go through different trials and challenges and etc. Just keep in mind that there's a reason you're going through this, because at some point in your career, and you're probably doing it now, you're going to be able to have those very good conversations with other individuals and be that leader that they need, that is not going to say, oh, by the way, you forgot to pick up the piece of paper on the ground, despite the fact you're picking up an entire building. There's people like that. Now, as I mentioned earlier about de-escalating situations specifically, and if you have any questions about this topic we're talking about, or anything as it relates to communication, or any challenging situations you're experiencing right now as a woman in leadership or as a man in leadership, let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about them. As I mentioned, we talked about my scenario where I know I have to talk to someone and I'm going to have a difficult conversation, or something they may get upset. I know who I'm talking with. I take the time to figure out who is it I'm speaking with, how exactly are they going to potentially interact with me, if they interact friendly, I'm prepared for friendly all the time. If they interact in a very negative way, then that's what I have to plan for in advance. The timing of when I have that conversation truly does matter. I need to know exactly, is it going to be better for me to talk to them in the middle of the day, at the end of the day? Sometimes the end of the day can work. You have to be able to have it I would say if you have a conversation at the end of the day, do not have it at the end of the day. Have the conversation a little bit earlier to the end of the day. For example, if you're leaving the office at 5 o'clock and you need to have a conversation with someone specifically, then I would make sure that you have that conversation at 4 o'clock or 3:30. So that it's at the end of the day, but not at the very end of the day, because things can tend to change at the end of the day, which is what I'm going to talk about here in my next secret I want to share with you. You have your conversation at the end of the day. I know that I'm having my conversation with this person at the end of the day. The next step that I take when I know that is to let people be aware of my conversation. Now, if it is a confidential conversation, that's fine. But the reason you have to prepare is because you never know when this conversation could go from 0 to 10 in a matter of seconds, and it might be too late for you. And what I do is I communicate with the people that are closest to me in my role, or maybe perhaps are direct reports, or people that I am managing or overseeing that are at a leadership level as well. I would let them know I'm having a conversation with this person. Please just be in the vicinity when we have this conversation. Now, you don't have to go into detail and say specifically what the conversation is about, what you're going to talk about, and tell their personal business. You don't need to do that as a leader, but people need to be aware of the conversation you're having if you potentially are thinking you may have a conversation with somebody that might be a bit more contentious. I have made mistakes in my career many years ago when I did not do that, and it was not pleasant. It ended up being a very, very contentious situation. And it's just, this is the reason why I share this with you, because so many managers, they struggle with communicating confidently and concisely under pressure. And so I want to make sure that you are not in that category. Now, before I go into that, let me go into the next thing I'll share with you. Let me go to the chat. So Robert says, thank you for the words, ma'am. Nowadays, I don't miss anything, even the small things. I always do a review and double check my work before sending it to my leaders. Absolutely. And that's what you have to do. You're doing the best that you can in your role specifically. And that's all that matters. You know that you're off to do some amazing things, Robert, and doing the best that you can is all that you can do on your roles. And it actually helps you to display yourself as an executive and stand out from everybody else as a leader, especially in your role, because I know you have a lot of great things going on for you this year. So that helps you to stand out. So it's really great that you're being able to do that and really being on top of it and checking for the small things. Because as I mentioned, the people that pick on the small things, sometimes the small things are not. They're really very, very, very small. And some people they just have to find something wrong. And it's unfortunate, but people really like that. They really genuinely are. Now, as I mentioned, about the de-escalation. So we have my person. I said, I got to talk to this person. And then I picked my time of the day when I'm going to talk to them. And I've let somebody know I'm talking to them. Now, what is the next thing I would do? The next thing I would do is I need to know where my exits are. Now, you may be saying, whoa, what do you mean talking about your exits? Are you serious? This is just a conversation I'm having with an employee. Oh, no. No. This is why you subscribe to my channel, because I'm sharing with you secrets that people are not going to talk to you about, especially as you being a leader and being a woman in leadership, or maybe you are a man in leadership. People are not going to tell you to know these type of situations when you are talking to your employee about a disciplinary issue. This is why you're here. You need to know your exits. Why? Because if something happens and this conversation escalates and goes from 0 to 10 very quickly and very suddenly, and someone turns combative on you, then you have to know, how do you need to get out of this room? Who do you need to contact? Who do you need to reach out to in that particular setting? You may think this is overkill, but it's not, because a lot of times this is exactly where people get caught off guard and they're not sure, what do I do? How do I do? I didn't know it was going to happen this way. Yes, sometimes it can, and you still want to be aware of where your exes are. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have this conversation with your person, you're thinking, I'm going to go out this door tomorrow, this door right now when I speak to them. But this is something that you absolutely want to definitely keep in mind when you're having those challenging conversations. Now, let's see what's came up on the chat. Robert says, okay, ma'am, I am leaving for now. We'll see you later. I have a question on teammates work comparison. Okay, fantastic. Just let me know what it is, Robert, and I'll do a video just for you, friend. Robert says, thank you, ma'am. Have a great rest of your day. See you soon, and bye. Bye, Robert. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you have an amazing weekend as well. Okay, so now I mentioned to you, you need to know where your exes are. Yes, you need to know where your exes are. Please take my advice. There will be one time in your role as a leader where you wish that you would have listened to what I told you to do. Make sure you know where your exes are and have a way to get out if you need to. This is not overkill. This is not excessive. These are things you really need to know. You really need to know, because this is how leaders are caught off guard when those situations go from 0 to 10 very, 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 very quickly. So you do not want to catch yourself in that situation. Now, once I know where my exits are, then I would plan to have my difficult conversation with this person. I will share with you that I have a lot, did I say a lot? A lot of videos on my channel that talk about difficult conversations, controlling your emotions under pressure, monitoring your tone of voice, your eye contact, etc. All of those videos will help you have a solid foundation in terms of how you can communicate at a higher level than your peers and navigate yourself in this challenging situation. But what I'm sharing with you right now are secrets that I wish I would have known specifically when I encountered very highly contentious conversations and situations that came up. So Cookville Taxi says, hi, I'm back. Welcome back, Cookville Taxi. Glad that you came back, friend. Now, one of the things that I will also give to you as a bonus in terms of another secret, I've given you a few so far. Another secret you want to keep in mind is when you're having the actual conversation. Sometimes people struggle with this, and I talked a bit about this morning, but people struggle because they simply don't know when a conversation is about to escalate. Now, I talked about this morning, but I want to share this with you in this live today, even if you have not seen the video from this morning. Knowing when a conversation is going to escalate is important. So how do you do it? How do you know when this conversation that goes from friendly to unfriendly so fast? One of the ways, the secrets I'll share with you, is that you have to be very observant of the person you are communicating with, because their body language or their nonverbal gestures, as we say in public speaking, will let you know what they are thinking. Now, there's different parts of somebody's face you may want to watch when you are having a conversation with them. Even let's say if you're not having a contentious conversation with them. Maybe you're just having a general discussion. Paying attention to someone's face in terms of how they are expressing themselves will tell you if they like what you're saying or if they don't. Now, if you are trying to determine if someone is going to escalate a conversation, what I have found that has been very helpful for me is to truly focus on the eyebrows, their eyes, and their lips in terms of what are they doing. Their body language in terms of crossing their arm is something that crossing their arms, I would say, something I have seen quite a bit. I've seen people kind of lean to the side some because they're really frustrated and they're just like uncomfortable. People will start to move around a little bit when they get really uncomfortable with something you're trying to say. Why do I mention this to you? Because these are very subtle cues that can help you understand and know when a conversation is about to escalate. These are strategies that you want to be mindful of when you're having a conversation with anyone as a leader, because sometimes we have no idea no idea what people are dealing with. And we may have a situation that becomes very, very hostile in a moment's notice, and we have no clue that the person just lost a family member, or they're going through something personally, or something just happened, and we are just the receivers of it. We have no idea that this was happening. This person just went from 0 to 10, started yelling, etc. Another thing to keep in mind also is the person's tone of voice. You want to really be mindful of how are they speaking to you? What is the way that they normally speak to you? How is this conversation different? You may have someone that speaks to you normally in one tone of voice, but you notice in this conversation specifically, they speak a little bit louder, or they may talk a little bit softer. You have to pay attention to those very subtle cues, because that is telling you that something is different about this conversation. Now, knowing when a conversation is going to escalate is very, very important for you to do. Knowing where your exits are and etc. and all the secrets I've shared with you in this video will help you stand apart. And as I mentioned, this is more of an advanced topic. This is a topic for individuals who are at a higher level in their leadership journey. They've been leaders for a very long time, and they're trying to elevate. And if you happen to be a woman in leadership and you want to get some executive coaching and some support on how you can really navigate some of the challenges that come up as being a woman in leadership, then reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below, and let's have a conversation and talk about where you are and where you want to be. But for everyone else, men in leadership, women in leadership, this is why we struggle as leaders, because we're simply not taught how to deal with these very challenging situations when they come up. Now, I hope these secrets have helped you, because I do have many, many more as it relates to how to de-escalate conflicts and challenging situations. But I wanted to give you a strong foundation as we're going into 2026, because things are great. It's the new year. Everybody's happy. Everybody's just excited to be in 2026. And then life happens, work happens, businesses happen, and you get to the point where you start having to have some of those more challenging conversations. And I just want to make sure that you are adequately prepared to deal with any of those type of challenging situations that come up for you, whether you are in my target audience as women in leadership, or you are a man in leadership, or you're just thinking about your leadership journey. That's why I'm here, is to support you and provide you with these advanced level communication skills and strategies, and help you really strategize how you can communicate as a leader to navigate some of these challenging situations when they come up. There are a lot of videos that I would recommend for you to watch before you click off of this one. A couple of videos that will help you are managing your emotions under pressure, maintaining eye contact, your tone of voice. Confidence is a big one. I have a 4-part older series on confidence. There's a lot of live tabs on my channel that talk about confidence, or the live tab has videos that talks about confidence. That will help you out tremendously as you are navigating this part of your journey. And then anything related to executive presence. Executive presence is going to be very important for you when you have those challenging situations, and being in a good place to display your executive communication skills as well. All those videos will help you have a very good foundation in terms of how to communicate when you're in those challenging situations. So I appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate you for watching this video and spending some time with me today. I appreciate my subscribers. You all are amazing. You come up with some of the most wonderful and very thought-provoking questions that are so incredibly important to help our audience be able to grow and go to that next level in their careers. So I hope you all have an absolutely amazing weekend. I will be back live next Tuesday. And for those of you who are new, as I mentioned the Cookville Taxi earlier, I go live Tuesday through Friday in the morning, in the evenings for now. So if you have something that comes up, you have a question, just reach out to me. Send me a message here on either LinkedIn at Dr. Jacinta Lamentine, or at Excite Excellence on LinkedIn, on Instagram and at Excite Excellence as well, and also on Facebook. And then of course here on YouTube as well. Send me a message, ask me a question. I will do a video just for you to give you some help as you are navigating these challenges in leadership. And I can only help you, but so much, especially if you're a woman in leadership, being in a group setting like YouTube. If you need that really customized one-on-one support to help you go to that next level, that's what you contact me for. When you're really ready to go to that next level in your role, maybe you're transitioning to a new position, you're in a place where you're going to be more visibly publicly, that's what you want to reach out to me for. So contact me, take a look at my website. It is www.exciteexcellence.org, and see how we can work together. If you want to have just a brief call and talk about yourself, maybe have a unique situation going on, then contact me for a strategy session. It's in the description below. And let's talk. Let's have a conversation. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.